Hi, I'm Chef Leo.
Hi, I'm Chef Theo, and this is The Confessions of a Private Chef. Hey, Chef, how are you, man?
I'm doing good.
It's been a while.
It's been at least almost a month, man. Thank God we've captured a lot of, shows.
Yeah, we've had a lot of content, a lot of great people come in and give us great interviews.
Mm-hmm.
And, I went to bed last night. I was like, because I ran into UHB yesterday, thankfully, because I'm like so much different in person. I think he can tell you. It's like, I can be a little dry sometimes with response or
No, not you.
But whenever we get in person, it's like, so I was really happy that I ran into you when I did, because I was like, okay, let's like talk about tomorrow.
Yeah, totally. I messaged you and I was like, oh, man, I haven't heard from him. He's got to be busy. Who knows what the fuck he's doing? But it's like, I need to know, because I think we've got one more podcast show to put out, and then we've got to start booking again. Start getting them in here. So I didn't hear from you. It's like, dude, what are we going to do? I'm just going to post it and then just wait. But I'm glad I did run into you. It's, when I saw you, and I saw you from a distance, when I was walking that way, it's like, dude, this is how it all began. It's like, I felt all, like warm and tingly. It's like, dude, it'd be cool, right? To like, let's replay the whole, hey man,
yeah,
are you interested in doing a podcast? And I'm like, yeah, why not? Never done it before, never listened to one before. So yeah,
dude,
here we are.
It was divine timing when I ran into yesterday. And we've had a few kind of weeks where, Chef Leo's been very busy, and, I have too. And so we were just like, we haven't had time to really kind of solidify any bookings for this week, but, we just kind of both came up with this idea to do like a little recap of everything we've done so far. I thought it was a great idea.
No, it's your idea. So yeah, thanks for throwing it out there, because I was like, God damn, what am I going to do? Just chill or what?
And looking back on the statistics of the show, our first show was just me and Chef, and it's still one of our highest downloaded shows. So and it was just him and I. So we're going to recapture a little bit of that magic.
Yeah, let's hope. Without having Brooke in the studio this time, right?
Oh, dude, she's still the queen of the downloads, man. Her show.
Technically, I think it's like a handful of them, man. We're just right there behind her.
I know. So. She was such an interesting guest, man. I learned a lot. And even like when I run into people now, I was talking to some people a couple weeks ago, and they were like, they had went to there's a new restaurant next to her space.
Yeah, I saw that.
Yeah,
I saw that.
I've heard great things about it.
Looks cool.
And I was like, oh, but they're next to Brooke. She's just killing it. And these people were like, oh my God, I listened to that podcast that you and Chef Leo did with her, and we just thought it was so insightful to learn a little bit about her.
Oh, really? Oh, so you actually talked to the owners or the people that work there?
No. It was just some random people that ate at that restaurant. And then I was like, oh, but they have to compete with Brooks, it's just that block is
right.
Dominated by her presence, Yeah.
I mean, I really don't see as, a competition. I think it's totally two different, entities.
Oh, for sure.
What they do. So, there's going to be something for, whoever's going to Brooks can easily just
pop in there.
Yeah, for sure, man. So,
but parking over there is kind of weird. So
very weird, man. Very. I wonder if the parking next door is actually open yet. That was going to be for for the hotel for the immigrant.
Oh yeah, I don't know. I see like a little like gate to like get in. Yeah, maybe it is.
I don't know, but I mean, I would be cashing in there, man.
Oh yeah, for sure.
That was mine, but they don't need the money.
So how's your life been, Chef? What you been going on?
Oh man, I mean, everything. I mean, the cooking hasn't stopped. Business is good. I wish it can always be better. Sometimes you wish for more, and you're like, what the fuck was I thinking?
Mm-hmm.
But people normally ask me, hey, when's the slow season? There hasn't been a slow season, but I've noticed that the people coming to Fredericksburg, they're smaller groups, or at least for me, I've noticed that the bookings have been a little bit smaller. I do have the, occasional, big group that calls, but at that point, it's already been booked for the smaller group. So it's like, hey, call my butt, call the dining dude and see if he's available. But, we try to stay booked at least 2-3 months in advance. So these people are calling like a week. And, and it's like, oh my God, you're a little behind here, I guess. And so That's what I've noticed in the trend. And, the people I talk to, the bars, so other chefs, it's the same thing. I'm getting the same thing. It was a slow summer, blaming it on, like the election year and blaming it on
the heat.
The different things. But I know, inflation is real. I see it every time I go, and I'm at the store every day buying something.
Yeah,
so
dude.
I think that has a lot to do with it. People always are pinching their pennies a little bit more and just holding on to them and not, using them in a way that, a luxurious way, so, to hire a private chef. But it's funny, every guest that I do cook for, it's like, I don't know why I haven't done this before. This is my first time doing it. Or I have the recurring ones like, this is the only way we do it whenever we travel and go out and, have big parties. And so, it's funny because, people are still coming. They're still staying at B&Bs. They still want to experience something different in Fredericksburg, and they're hiring us. And it may not be as big as bigger groups the way we want them sometimes, but it's still we're providing that same service. It hasn't changed. It's just the people coming in is just a little bit smaller, which is fine.
Yeah, I was talking to a friend from back home, and he travels a lot. Him and his wife. And they go all over the world. And I did a dinner for them. This was back in, I don't know, August or something like that. And they were telling me, they're like, oh yeah, when you travel, especially even around the world, this is a kind of a big thing. It's like they'll be like they were talking about, they were in Argentina and then they were in Rome, and all along the way they were just hiring private chefs.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And so it's not just concentrated here. I think the industry by and large is growing even outside of America.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I never thought about doing it myself. When I travel, it's like everybody stays in B&Bs, right? And I'm like, nope, I got to stay at a nice hotel that has a nice restaurant, or I got to be surrounded by great places to go and eat, because I don't want to be stuck cooking for myself. As a chef, it's like you want to enjoy yourself when you go out.
Yeah.
And so I don't want to make the bed. I don't want to do anything, And so for these people to want to do it, it's just a lie, because maybe they're already living that life elsewhere. So it's like they come and it's like, oh, okay, let's do this.
Yeah. I think for me and you too, it's like, I feel the same way. It's like, I'm looking for as low friction. If I'm on like a vacation, like no friction, I just want to just chill.
Yeah.
And then to go to other restaurants and stuff like that we're very much like looking for inspiration.
Yeah.
Eat something that you've never tried before.
Exactly. Yeah.
Try a new flavor, see a new way that people are serving.
Mm-hmm.
Find some of these restaurants have amazing ambiance.
Yeah.
And so you're just trying to pull from that and find inspiration.
Yeah. How do you order when you go? Because even when I go, it's like my entire family will order whatever they want. And I'm like my father, man, I'll like pick at everybody's plate so I can try it. But my thing is like whatever the chef wants, or whatever the chef recommends. And sometimes I want to be surprised. I never order steak, so for me it's like,
I know
it's
so expensive.
Yeah, it can be, but it's like I'm afraid they're gonna fuck it up, or it's just I'm not gonna be happy. And so sometimes I'm not even happy with mine. So it's like it's just something I never do. But that's one of the enjoyments that I get about going out, not really sticking to a menu or knowing what, I'm going to order something off the menu. If I can order off menu, even better. But what about you?
So I think with the birth of the internet and, and just the amazing statistics and, I am one of those guys who will like read reviews, and, with my girls, whenever we go in to eat somewhere, I'm definitely guilty of doing too much research and coming up with some sort of a plan before I walk in,
right? Which is, it's to each their own, man. That's a good way to do it. I do that when I travel. I'm always looking for places, who has what, of course, ambiance, pricing, and when I get there, half the time is like it's not what I expected. Sometimes, because as a photographer, you always try to capture things the best you can and promote it, as it should be, or as how you see it. But sometimes they just like they pick a corner, shoot something, and then or they shoot it and dress it up, and then you get there and it's like, oh, this is like not what I saw in the picture. And so sometimes it works out, sometimes it doesn't. It's really reviews. I read a lot of reviews.
Hell yeah.
And I go out, to see, what their people are saying about the food. So yeah.
Dude, and some people can be brutal.
They can. Yeah, there are those assholes. Sometimes if I don't like it, I just don't say anything. I'd rather not.
I'd rather not.
But that's just me, man. I mean, those, what do you call them? Those yelpers.
Yeah, they're keyboard warriors, man.
Yeah, dude, fuck them.
Yeah. I mean, it's crazy how, if you look back 10 years ago, 15 years ago, a lot of that wasn't on the, rise yet. And, I don't know how much impact it's had, but I can guarantee you it's definitely making an impact.
Oh, definitely.
On the way people, they direct their dining experience to places that have higher reviews. And, there's always that asshole that's like looking for like the worst review,
Of course. But I think there's going to be a negative review in anything. Everyone's different, their palate is different. It's hard, but I look at the reviews as in, the staffing, how were they, how,
sure.
The food is, I can't go by what anybody says about a certain dish, but it's always, the atmosphere, the, my waiter or, the whole staff. Sometimes, you can hear about one person, but when someone says something about the entire staff, that to me says a lot too. Okay?
Yeah.
Because, you walk in somewhere and you can just see, tables are set right. Mm-hmm. Everyone's actually coordinating, wearing something that's, pleasing to the eye, so those things, I pay attention to. Especially when you're dropping some serious money, and you're supposed to be eating at a nice facility. Now, going to a pizza joint, nah, I don't give a shit. As long as, I'm sure the food is great, I'll show up and enjoy it and tip. Doesn't matter.
That's funny that you mentioned pizza place. We were in San Antonio last week, and I won't name the name of the establishment, but, this is one of those scenarios where you're talking about people that you can kind of really tell by just like looking at the staff when you first walk in. But we walked into this place, we had high expectations, and then, the first warning sign came on when we walked in, and the people that were in front of us, the host was telling them they wanted a certain table and it was open. And she was like, well, that waiter's running late, so we're gonna have to seat you over here in this section. And I'm like, okay, first red flag here, and you could tell the staff was like trying to do the best they could, but they were just severely understaffed,
right?
And I had a salad. We had just got a basic Caesar salad. It came out, the lettuce was all brown.
Oh shit!
I'm like,
seriously?
Yeah, and then I could tell the waitress, she was doing the best she could, but she was like running the bar, doing the tables and like,
Did you send a salad bag or say, hey?
Well,
it's brown?
we politely kind of brought it to her attention, and she was even like, yeah, I wouldn't eat that. And I was like, but at that point, we were already too far in, we already ordered our pizza and everything like that. And so I was like, crap, we can't just like walk out. So, I mean, luckily, the pizza was good or whatever, but
walk out,
yeah, respectfully,
yeah.
You know what I mean? Yeah. I'm not going to be that guy that's like going to cause a scene or anything like that. I'm just going to be like, thanks, but no thanks. But, I think that's a testament to, kind of what you were saying. Is like you can really tell by the way people are kind of presenting themselves, and
I get it, man. I get it. I've seen a couple places like that, and local here, man, I can't say. I mean, I think we're doing pretty good, like with front of the house, at least. The people that have tended to me, anywhere I've gone, it's been really good. I remember growing up and going places with my parents, and man, my parents were anal, man. When it came to staff, like, are they fast enough? Are they bringing my mom? Are they refreshing my tea?
Yeah.
Are they doing? Or my dad, it's like, she's right there. What can't she see me? I need something. And so I grew up with that mentality, man. I mean, I remember as a kid, Southside San Antonio, man, being like, there was my dad. These dive in like burger joints in the back of a gas station, my dad ordering and not getting it and just being a total dick and chunking something. What the hell? And having to look at me or, whatever. And it's like, dude, I was just so embarrassed. I would walk out and not even speak to him. But it was one of those things that's like, I saw that as a young age and I thought, man, poor guy's working. But then I hear experiences like yours and you're like, it takes a lot of, sometimes it takes a lot of patience just to sit there and pull through to do something like that.
Yeah, because you can tell, it's like this restaurant. And by the way, your experience with your father, I've been through a few of those experiences, so I know exactly where you're coming from. Where it's just so awkward because somebody gets so irate, and you're just like, okay, I'm never going to come back here again.
Right. They're just too embarrassed to show up.
But this place that we were at in San Antonio, this pizza place, you could tell like there was no manager to, and you're like, okay, there's nobody like directing the troops here. The ship is like running, the best that it can by itself, with no captain.
Yeah, it's sad. I mean, what do you do at that point? These are just word of mouth. You tell somebody else. You don't have to write about it. But like we said a while back, the best type of form of marketing is word of mouth. Somebody asks you, "What about this place?" Like, oh, this is what I went through. So
yeah, for sure.
Yeah,
for sure. So, Chef, what do you think about podcasting so far?
Oh man, podcasting is just another beast. There's so many little things involved. It's easy to just have this conversation or have a conversation with anyone. With you, man, it's enjoyable. There's been a couple times when we had like Chef JC and John Claude over, and we're sitting outside smoking and drinking. It's like, dude, why don't I just run a microphone out here for like after the show, little extra podcasts and capture these conversations, because it's just crazy. But once you start including all the technical aspect of it, people listen and they don't think about all the little shit, all the little hidden costs or all the little settings and filters and just the time that it takes to make an hour show function. Sometimes and then when you throw a video into loop, all of a sudden it goes from an hour show, technically still an hour show, but it's taking you 4 hours to produce. So these are things that when you say, hey, let's do a podcast, fuck yeah, let's do it. Once you're doing it, it's like, oh shit,
there's a lot that goes into this.
Well, yeah, I guess like I got to get it out tomorrow because I didn't want to work on it, as soon as we got done with it, because you know what, I was just like, either we were, had a nice buzz from whatever we were drinking or smoking, or we had plans and shit. So you kind of drop the ball, and then life happens, with the work and stuff, and it's like, oh shit, here we go. We got still got to do this. So those are the things that the downfalls of doing it on your own. Like we do it all on our own. We're not like these like Rogan, where he has 4 guys sitting behind a computer, one's watching a monitor, one's doing the audio, one's just fact checking or whatever. It's like, no, this is just us, man. We talk about things that we feel and know, and critique and bullshit, and that's the best part about doing what we do. And of course, in a way, after I just bitched about all that other shit, it's still relaxing. While we're doing it, it's like it's releasing a lot of stress from the week or the weekend work, and just hanging out with your friend, like you. It's just like it makes it enjoyable, So it's like anything, man. It takes work, but if you're enjoying what you're doing, it's like it's not a big deal.
For sure.
Especially when you're not getting paid.
Yeah. I've been noticing too, it's like the people that come in and then we do these interviews, it's almost like I see like when by the time it's over, like I see like a weight lifted from those people, because I really genuinely think that people love to tell their stories. Yeah.
No, they do. And I feel like, I take a lot away from it, just the knowledge, because, it's like Martha Stewart said, her goal was to like learn one thing a day, every day of her life, to make it seem like life was worth living and, give it meaning. And I feel like, in some days you go by and we don't, we don't experience something new, or, we don't learn anything new most days, but come Mondays, for me, it's like we get bombarded with all this new, information that, maybe I knew some of it, but, in most cases, and it's happened, since we started this, I didn't know a lot of certain things, especially from those people or the company, or, like take example like Tim Dooley, man, that guy was just a walking encyclopedia about Fredericksburg.
Oh my God.
And so for me, just being able to capture that moment, it's just like
it's magical.
It's magical. It really is, man. Or Kaylee, in Austin, when she came down, her marketing, experience and stuff. I learned a lot. But to be honest with you, it's like everyone that's come to the studio has brought something new and interesting, and I've learned something from everyone. So getting back to what you said, it's like just having these people, man, it just changed my outlook in a lot of things, and also made, life so much more enjoyable since we started,
Yeah, for sure. Well, I don't know if you knew this. I pulled up, I got a little statistic on podcasting. And over 504.9 million people are estimated to listen to podcasts worldwide as of 2024. It's equal to 23.5% of the total internet uses, an increase of an 8.7 compared to 46.47 million podcast listeners as of 2023. So it's up 8.7%.
Damn, yeah.
And this industry is only growing, honestly. I feel like the way people consume media, it's like, if you, for instance, I had this guy on YouTube that I love to follow. His name is Joshua Weissman. He's a chef. And, he's had a huge journey. And you've kind of been able to see it play out on YouTube. And he has like 9.5 million subscribers.
It's crazy, man.
And then as opposed to one of my favorite chefs from the Food Network, who I grew up watching and totally admiring, he was an Iron Chef. His name was Michael Simon. I love the dude, but he's sitting at like 2.8 to 3 million subscribers. So,
God,
you have the rise of this alternate kind of media, and that's why I love what we do here. Because we have kind of this, it seems like we have this window of opportunity where there's nothing like our show, and I think that, and it's caught on, but I think I'm just like thinking, where are we at in a year, where are we at in like 2 years,
right.
And I've also noticed too that a lot of these guys, it's just the game of repetition. So, by the time we hit that, 100 episode mark or whatever, I think we're going to look a lot different than we do now.
No, I agree. I feel like that. I feel like we've changed a lot in the format, the way we conduct ourselves since, day one that we started. I remember just the first episode, and then showing it to my buddy Brandon, Brandon Vineyard, which we had on for marketing. It's like, dude, just be yourself, man. It's like, that's not how you are, like, when we hang out. It's like, why? So fucking professional, man. It's like, just drop the fucking,
just let it fly.
Yeah. So, and it's great to be able to share things with, people. And, I shared it, of course, with Jay, Bricks for Cast Iron, and it was like the same shit, and when I told you about it, it's like, let's just do this instead. And it was like so much more enjoyable,
Hell yeah.
Like today we have stats. I like the stats, man, because it's like, but normally it's like, fuck it. It's like, it's going to be whatever it's going to be, and hopefully we'll be there. But that's a lot of fucking people, going up, and you see that chart, and just that gradual, the swoop going up, man. It's like, there's a lot happening out, with all these different podcasting episodes. Now, ever since we started podcasting, I wanted to listen to different people to try to get into to see what other people were doing and how they were conducting, like themselves during the podcast, and what kind of crowd was listening to them, how big the following was, and why the following was what they were. And I just couldn't get behind, like, dude, like 99% of them. I was just listening, and I was like, dude, it's fucking boring. Why would anybody want to, hear about this? It's like, but there are people that, there's a niche for everyone, and, and out there, it's crazy, man, to think that somebody wants to hear just about seeds, or somebody just wants to hear about how to make something without, actually having no, what's the word I want to use? I don't know, not attitude or not. It's just, there's no,
it's unfiltered.
Yeah, but it's boring, there's no feeling or anything behind, they're talking about making something, but they're, it's just, I'm not interested because they're not making it interesting. I'm sure the item is amazing, they probably, tastes great, but just doesn't capture my, my whole, I don't know.
Well, there's
interest,
Yeah. I think the element of what we do here is because we have this element of a storytelling, especially when we bring these people in.
Yeah.
Which is completely captivating. Storytelling is like the ultimate form of gaining somebody's attention, especially when the story is relevant and it is interesting. You know, and I think some of these other shows that are, you know, out there, they're trying to, like you said in the beginning, like we were trying to be something we weren't, or we were trying to like, you know, just be somebody else. But like once you start
too polished,
you know, but then when you like your actual self and you're just having a conversation with somebody whom you find interesting and has something interesting to say, then all of a sudden it's just a conversation. It's not polished anymore.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's not trying to be something that it's not, you know what I'm saying? Another crazy stat I heard the other day ago, and I'm trying to find it, but at some point I'll come back and give the exact number, but there's a live, very popular podcast called Kill Tony. It's every Monday, Tony Hinchcliffe, and he has one bit that was on a couple weeks ago, and it had received, I think it was like 9.5 billion minutes listened.
Damn.
So they were doing this statistic where it was like, how many likes is that? How many? And it's crazy. Just from this clip that he did, it got reshared and you know, it was live on his podcast.
Viral.
It went viral, yeah. But I mean, and they compared it to the statistics of people who just watch the nightly, whatever it is, you know, the night show or whatever, but
late night show.
Yeah. It just crushes. The statistics are just crushing. And it's largely due to the internet and the rise of this new form of media. Yeah. You know?
Yeah. Which, I mean, we've done a couple of videos, or recorded a couple of videos, with our podcasts, and some of them are out. I want to say some, maybe 2 out of the 18. Yeah. What do you think? I mean, I know I have people like Jay that likes to watch them. I put them on here when I'm in the studio on YouTube, and I really from other people, and I ended up just listening because I'm always doing something else. So I mean, do you see the trend getting bigger than what it is on audio, or do you think audio? Because for me, audio is just, you can take it with you anywhere. You know, you're walking, running, and biking. You know, I'm always constantly listening to something, music or podcast. What do you think?
I think Audible is, a lot of people learn. I'm not a very good reader, you know. Unfortunately, my wife is so good. She's a speed reader. But for me, it's like everything that I learn is Audible. She's even said, you know, like, you're an Audible learner. For me, I don't have to watch the video, but I feel like the audio is very, like, it's the most important element.
No, I agree.
Component of it.
Yeah, I just didn't know, you know, but a lot of people was like, yeah, don't drop the ball, you know, do the video because, you know, things are going that way. And it's like, yeah, I mean, it's cool to have it. Right. And, you know, we're able to create something, you know, at a high level, but it's a pain in your fucking ass, man, you know? And so it's like,
well, I could tell you this, if I won the lottery or I, you know, came into some money, I would make this, you know, we would have a great like helper, and, you know, we could find a way to, you know, to scale this thing up with money.
Right. We'd have one guy just holding the mic over our heads without having to. We don't need to stand. We want that guy right there. We like the way he moves it back and forth.
And just go full tilt on, you know, merchandise and hosting big private events, and, you know, going on field trips and stuff like that.
Oh, yeah.
You know, which you never know.
I don't need a lot of money for that shit, man. We just need time, you know, and we need people who, you know, maybe give us their money in the form of a sponsorship. That way we don't have to.
You know, when you told me Jay was on board for that, I mean, it was like a huge win.
Yeah,
you know?
Totally, man.
And he's such a nice guy, dude. I every time I see Jay, you know, he just reminds me of like a brother that, you know.
Yeah. Trust me, I feel the same way with Jay, but then I turn around and think, man, I can't imagine, you know, if he's holding anything in. Like, I would hate to see him like blow up on someone, because maybe he's that nice guy that, you know, just holds it. And then if you piss him off, man, he's like, tear you apart, man. It's like fucking Godfather style.
Well, I mean, he's been running, you know, when you're in a business, like Buddy said, you know, it's a blood sport, man. So, you know, he's got some blood, you know.
Totally, man. I know. So, but I love the guy. Love everything he does. His family's so freaking cool. His wife, his kids. And I saw some pictures and video too. You know, he went on TV in San Antonio and to promote the product. And I'm just, you know, so proud because, you know, I remember people like him, especially him, you know, when you first get started, you know, the idea evolves to, you know, a physical product that then evolves into a business that people just find interesting to the point to where they just want to support him no matter what. and it's like, oh, something costs too much. No, you don't give a shit, sometimes what the price is. You pay something because you want to support, a local business, local product, and, local person, I mean, Jay comes from, out of town, he moved in, and, of course, but he's got a lot of roots here.
He does.
With his his father-in-law and stuff. So I treat Jay and I see him as a, local. To me, just right up there with Tim, man. It's like, these are guys that changed Fredericksburg for the better. And so it's for me, it's like, wow, I love that, man.
Yeah. Cause I mean, those pans are like worldwide,
Yeah.
You can get them anywhere and, he's in all kinds of retail and that's his gig, and, yeah, I think we're lucky to have him here, and that pan just presents so well for what Fredericksburg is.
Totally, yeah.
You know what I mean?
It's our image for sure.
It's the image. Maybe you're in Portland, Maine. And you somehow somebody gives you a FBG cast iron, or you acquire one, and when they turn that pan upside down, they see Fredericksburg on it.
Yeah, that's pretty badass. I like that. That to me is one of those things that just, says Fredericksburg, no matter where you take it. The people that visit it, that always visit Fredericksburg, and I'm cooking with them. It's like, I love your cast iron pan. It's like, well, you can get one, you're down the street here. While you're in Fredericksburg, pick it up.
Yeah.
And so it's an easy sell, man. But yeah, no, going back to, our stats and, these numbers, dude, it's watching us grow since we started. It's been an amazing, thing. It's mind blowing. The amount of people that download our show, that really, I didn't think, we would get the following that we have now, and the amount of downloads that we've had since we started. I know, I've slipped up a little bit and was, posting some here and there. Last week I had broke my phone, so it's like, shit, I gotta wait. And people are waiting, people are waiting to get it. And it's like, oh, dude, I'm sorry. So anybody who waited on my ass and finally got it, please, I'll try not to make it happen again, but it just happened again this past week. So it's like twice I've dropped the ball.
Well, life happens. And like you said, I mean, we don't have, I'm very grateful for you. You do all of the work pretty much. I just show up and write some notes, Dude,
your notes help, man. I'll be like, what are we talking about?
But, we don't have a team, so it's like if that happens, it's just life happens, But I think the quality of the content is worth more. If you have to wait a couple of days extra, I think it's worth it because the quality of the content is just phenomenal.
Yeah, man. So to answer your question, man, I love the whole podcasting thing. Never thought I'd be doing it, but I'm doing it, and it's something else that I can say, I'm proud to do and happy and that I'm able to do.
For sure.
I'm able to do a lot of things. So, but to put another thing in my toolbox, it's cool to have, man. What about you? I know you tried doing it before. You did it. You told me once that you did it, and I was like, so what happened? Well, I mean, but now you're doing it again. But it's like, what drew you to the whole podcasting thing? Why do it?
Well, like I said before, I mean, I've listened to probably at this point thousands of hours of people just talking, everything from food to finance to business to even politics. I consume pretty much everything via podcasting, and I just found myself getting lost in these conversations with people. It almost feels like you're in the room with them, like you're just a part of whatever the conversation is. And that's kind of what drew me to it. I am very introverted in a way. So if I feel like I'm in a conversation somewhere, even though I'm not there, it kind of gives me some sort of comfort in a way.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I just feel like for what we do in our industry, I couldn't find anything out there, that was catering to the kind of people that are tribe. You know what I mean?
Right.
And, there's a lot of stuff on business, and there's a lot of stuff on personal growth, and there's a lot of stuff on marketing out there, but it's always like some other, sector of industry, that I can still take away information from, and I can still grow from. But I just wanted I wanted a show. I wanted to hear something like we're producing.
Yeah. I mean, we touched base on pretty much everything you just talked about on every show.
We do.
Yeah. So, and it's hard to listen to other shows that, that do produce anything that I can capture all those elements, and still be entertained, because there's just these learning podcasts, and there's also just entertaining podcasts, like Snoop, or listening to somebody that, that just a late night host that has their own, podcast. It's like, you really don't learn anything from it. You laugh, you listen to some jokes, and you can relate, to your personal life sometimes with them. But for the most part, I feel like we do offer something, like that you can learn from. And so that's one of the things that I take away from doing it. Not only am I learning, but I'm happy that we're able to provide something to the public that listens to it, besides just simple entertainment, of who we are, because we can be a little boring sometimes, or I can anyway. You can.
No, hell no, Chef. I think people genuinely like what you have to say. I mean, you've been now, you're leading the pack as far as private chefs. In my opinion, I think you're the pinnacle of our industry here in this town, and hell, you were even on the phone, when I walked in talking about going to Houston. So, you're even capturing other markets, and which is interesting, because I do have a statistic on private chefing.
Yeah, tell me about it. Let's look.
So the demand for personal chefs is on the rise. The market size of the industry is predicted to increase by $21.7 billion by 2029.
Damn. Yeah. So what is it now? Or let's say the prior year, because to be at 21 billion, and it's coming from where? Let's look. We're on the pewter.
Yeah.
Scrolling around, looking for
all this. This is the Bureau of Labor Statistics.
Yeah.
This is one that gave us that one. I don't know. I'd have to look for the chart as far as where it's been.
What was the percentage that it grew?
Well, it says that it's going to grow 21.7 billion by 2029. So even, if you're just looking at it from that, it's like to grow that much
right
by that time, it's pretty interesting.
It is, man. And I know when I first started here, there was probably like 3 people that were calling themselves private chef, well, I was say 3, maybe 2. And then when I came into the mix, made it 3. But it was so weird, because even the city didn't know how to handle a private chef. So I get a call from the health department, and it's like, hey, you want to sit down, have a meeting, and try to figure out the rules and regulations for the business that you're in and what you do, because there's got to be guidelines. And I'm like, yeah, of course. So pretty much, I get it from the health side of it. But when you start charging, a person, a small business, a shitload of, and fees for permits, and, more permits, because you're not just a caterer, there's certain little things that make you different, like, for instance, I believe I'm the only one that provides like all my personal dinnerware, cutlery, and just full service, right? So it's like, they were pretty much, using me as their guinea pig to write all the rules. And I'm like, okay, well, when we finish this meeting, it's like, I would like to at least get a discount. But no, that didn't happen, man. And then I don't even know if they, and I go, what about everybody else that's been doing it without a permit, now that I'm having to buy all this stuff and pay for it? Mm-hmm. It's like, well, we need to know who they are. And I go, well, I'm not a snitch. You're going to have to go figure that shit out yourself, just like you figured I was doing it. But I guess I was getting out there, like, through my social media marketing, and everybody was seeing that. So it's like, how do we control this? So, anyways, yeah, I saw that grow from then on. Then I was just getting calls, man, like, hey, I'd like to sit down to, with you, have a beer, and talk about how, what you're doing, how you're doing it. And it's like, dude, so do you want to do it? Because I don't mind telling you, but you got to pay, for my services consultant for me to tell you. And then, then I wouldn't hear back from them. Because, they wanted something for nothing. It's like, dude, I had to work at it. Nobody taught me, that just did it, so, and then we have, chefs that don't want to be, in the box, like, my good friend, Chef Henry, whenever I met Henry when he first came to town, man, it was like, meeting someone that you've known all your life. Like when I met you, even though the language barrier, his English is pretty good now compared to what it was even when you first came over. And so he picked up on all the slang, and it's been great. But it's his complaint, and I got it because I never had to really be in what he calls the box for that long of a time. But he did it so well, because that's the way he was brought up. And if you listen to his show, you can hear everything that he went through. But to experience everything he did, but it was like he was getting tired of the box, working in the four walls where he creates something unique and then never see really, the reaction on people's faces and stuff. And now after the Sage and that he's doing his consulting, he's able to leave the box and also do his private events and catering. And I can see, the joy that he's having now compared to the joy that he had, 2 or 3 years ago, or didn't have 3 years ago. Even though he was doing really good, and he is a phenomenal, he's one of the best chefs in town. And so for me to hear, and to see him in a totally different way, we bike ride a lot, and then when we get, we ride our Harleys, from point A to point B, sit down and have beer or whatever, and we talk about just life and work, and it's like to see how he's changed throughout the years to now, where he's actually doing exactly what he loves is great. So now we have, more than just, a handful of chefs. And we also have chefs coming in from San Antonio, the surrounding areas, and working Fredericksburg, and which is cool. I love that we have all these people doing it, because they're representing, a business that Fredericksburg now is known for, the whole private chef thing. You're coming to Fredericksburg for a bachelorette or for a party or whatever, you have to have a private chef. If it's not me, it's Theo. It's not me or Henry or, whoever is out there doing it, and hustling, because, it takes some hustle, man, to do what we do.
Yeah, for sure.
And so, yeah, man, I mean, I think being a private chef right now, especially in Fredericksburg, is great because, word travels fast coming out of Fredericksburg, going to places like Houston, Dallas, Louisiana, California. And, we've been getting a lot of inquiries just on the podcast from people from all over the world. And to know that, even the private chef work that we're doing is getting out to those places is really cool. I want to say, 80% of my clientels come from Houston, Dallas area, West Texas, and Louisiana, New York. It's crazy, man. We get them from all over the place here in Fredericksburg. Dude. And before you know it, then we're there, and I travel all over the country to cook, man. So it's cool. It's really cool. And I see it only getting better. I think that us as a, the niche that we have, as long as we can have chefs that are producing quality work, that actually have a personality, because anyone could cook.
That's true.
In order to be a private chef, you need to, take that. You need to have a personality that you can present, your food and somewhat of a conversation, with the people that you're cooking for. Because sometimes, you're cooking in the same kitchen, they're sitting around watching you. It's not like the box, where, you're yelling at your Sue or whoever, the dishwasher, I need that shit. It's different, you can't do that with your clients, No. So it's like, you don't lift a finger unless people are, can I help you? It's like, sure, you can help, but I mean, you don't have to. You can kick back, pour me a drink and you drink and, we'll do this.
Yeah, for sure.
My way, you relax. So, yeah.
One thing that's cool, first of all, I want to circle back to something. I'm working through my own business right now with the health department. And it's funny, you were telling that story, and she told me the exact same story when I met with her. She's like, Leo, like we had to make some guidelines with him, and but I thought it was so funny because she was even like, so we asked him who else were his friends, and he's like, I'm not gonna snitch. I was like, El Chingo.
El huevo, dude. It's like, fuck that, dude.
You're like death before dishonor, man.
No shit, man. Because people are trying to do their best to make a living, like with anything else. Like, I feel funny about certain taxes or any taxes, right? I wish we didn't have to pay it, but there's a reason for everything, and I get that, and if they're really enforcing that, what they do with everyone, then it should be across the board, and it should also, really help them meet a standard, a certain level that is needed, like in cleanliness and everything being, prepared a certain way, kept at a certain temp or not. Because, we get asked a lot, can you cater and do this and just, or, and then just bring it. We have no kitchen. And it's like, oh shit. Well, if I'm going to be there an X amount of hours before, we have to be able to keep it warm, or we have to be able to keep it cold, because if not, bacteria starts growing after a certain amount of time.
Yep.
If you get somebody sick, that's it, man. It's like you're fucked.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, my chef from A&M, Piku, Chef Piku, he would always tell us, we'd have these team meetings in the beginning. He's like, don't forget, we're cooking food. It's like playing with a loaded gun if you're not careful, and that always stuck with me because, when you think about it from that aspect, he's right, to keep the sanitation and the temps and to keep, you're putting so much work into this thing that you're doing. You want to make sure that it nourishes people and doesn't make them sick.
Exactly, man. So yeah, no, I get where they were coming from, the city, and they do a great job whenever they do festivals and stuff, to make sure that everyone has the right stuff. So I get that. I just think it's a lot of fucking money, man, for
sure
to get, to that.
But you know what? I will take being a chef podcaster over being a restaurant owner.
Totally. I agree, man. Just,
I have mad respect for anybody who owns a restaurant and is running a restaurant, because it is so hard.
Yeah, I know it's been a thing, since the beginning of whenever, even here, settlers and stuff, and people need to go to, to a place to eat sometimes. But I mean, we have so many options now, especially, from cooking at home or having somebody cook for you at home. And I love that we do, and I do support a lot of restaurants and businesses out there. But man, just the overhead, man. You have to charge a ridiculous amount of money to eat something now, that when you go, it's like, you drop a few $100 to feed a family of 4, and I'm like, okay. And the only way that I can get over that is that I charge $100 a person, and people are like, still, well, that's a little cheap. I go, well, it starts at 100, but it's like there's add-ons and shit. But I'm like, still, I think, I fed my family for $100, not bad. Or you got to go to H-E-B and buy something at the grocery store, and you go, it's like $100, get you like 2 little bags of something, just 1 pack of meat.
Yeah.
And so these are things that, it's become harder for everyone, but yeah, mad respect for those that can actually make a business and pull it off, selling food and creating food in a restaurant. And, hopefully, they can still stay successful for a long time until, they have to retire or sell or whatever. Yeah. But yeah, it's difficult. But I'm luckily, here in Fredericksburg, we have a good crowd that comes every weekend. But during the weekdays, man, if you can go out there and support someone, at least once a week, it's great. I go to Machetes sometimes. I'll order something there. I go even fast food, bro. I'm not gonna lie to you. I'll go pick up some nuggets or something for my girls and stuff, and which is locally owned franchise. It's just. Sometimes it's just easy, but people like Vaudeville have been open for so long and continue to do good. They have their loyal customers that come in. New places that are opening up right now. I support them, but sometimes it's just hard to say, hey man, I'm gonna go try this new place and not feel like I'm getting ripped off because their prices are ridiculous for what they're having to offer. I got to still compare apples to apples.
For sure.
When I go and say, well, shit, I got to have a sandwich and that for like fucking $30. I'm like, oh man, it's like I can buy bread made from my buddy Josh.
Yeah.
I can do this or go down and to Dutchman's and get this and that. It's like those are things that people can do locally and still support local people. So yeah, man. Yeah, props.
It's funny, what they don't tell you. I think if you've never owned a restaurant before and you're getting into the industry and, this has maybe been your dream to cook your family, the food that your family, you grew up eating and, you want to serve people well. And then, the minute you turn the lights on and you turn the machine on and you start hiring people and then, you got to keep up with the plates and the linens and the dishwasher and then the taxes that, that you're paying for, your staff. And, you have to give your staff some sort of a livable wage. Otherwise they're not going to be happy and they're not going to want to stick around. And, but people don't see the hidden cost on that as, as soon as their wage goes up, then, the price that you pay and the taxes for that employee go up, so it's very tough. It's and people wonder why, you know, like food is so high. It's like, dude, it's like everything around, and the restaurant, you know, as soon as you turn the lights on in the morning, and actually even through the evening, you know, when you're closed down or whatever, that thing is just bleeding money.
Well, not only that, man, you got your, you know, your freezers, your walk-ins. I mean, it's just constant. And inflation is real, man. I mean, people are like, no, it's politics bullshit. It's like, dude, I mean,
it's real.
It's real. And I guarantee you, whoever the fuck you vote for, it's not going to change. It's going to stay. Well, you know, things cost more. You know, I feel like, if anything, you know, and this is going to sound like shit, but it's like, dude, pay your employees more if you possibly can. If not, really think about if you're in the right business.
Yeah.
Think about if you're actually, you know, creating issues, or, you know, actually, you know, being a success and helping and, you know, making the whole system work. Because if you have to charge so much, but yet the staff is not making enough to support their family or even have a place to live, and they're having to drive, like now, a lot of, you know, people are driving from, you know, Kerrville, San Antonio, Austin to work at a winery. It's like, dude, maybe you're really helping, you know, you're making things worse somehow. I don't know. But it's just, you know, it's a difficult business to be in, you know. The whole restaurant business is difficult. And I'm not saying the hospitality food business is suffering, or you can't do it. You totally can. There's great examples out there of these restaurants doing it, but it just, you know, has to be done well, and everyone has to, you know, be happy, because without happy employees, you're not gonna.
And you really have to love that dish that your mom cooked for you that you're trying to sell to people, because if you don't love it, you know, if you lose the passion along the way because it's become very difficult, then, like you said, it's like you have to reconsider, because, you know, now the livelihood of so many people revolves around that. Yeah,
for sure. You know, they want to be able to not only enjoy the food, enjoy the environment, enjoy the hospitality from whoever, you know, is providing that the time you sit down. So, you know, luckily in what we do, I mean, there's no overhead, you know. So that's, of course, it's just us, it's our family, you know, helping out, or, you know, whatever. But it's like the people that we deal with is, you know, the people that we serve and the people that we buy things from. I mean, some of my good friends now, you know, I got a H-E-B, man. It's so hard to get out of there without talking to all the employees, man. You know, it's like you get to produce, you know, everybody produce, you get to the market, or, you know, it's like by the time you get out of there, it's like, shit, man, I'm tired already.
Well, I will say I took one thing away from you. Whenever I do a private dinner, I take my daughter to cook with me, and I've realized how, like, good that is for our relationship.
Oh yeah.
You know, so, and that's one of the things that, you know, when we first started hanging out, you're like, oh yeah, my daughters, you know, I just have them, you know, step up and do the work.
For sure.
And you can see it empower them, because, you know, they can make something, you know, and then it's good for your relationship, because then they've, you know, ultimately helped you succeed in a goal, you know.
And, you know, they can see how it works, and it's like, oh, I make this much, you know. It's like, give them $100 for 3 hours. Hey man, they tip me $300. You get another $150. I'll split it with you. And I'm totally like
transparent.
Transparent with them. And so it's like, sometimes they get out of there. It's like, how many friends do you have that work one night, 3 hours, and can come home with, you know, $100-$300? Like, how many, you know, an hour, you know, like you're making $100 an hour, or $50 an hour, or even shit, if you break it down to 35 or $40 an hour, it's like, that's crazy.
I know, and we're both girl dads, so it's like it's nice when they can, you know, make their own, and then they can support their
dude. Or I don't want to say habits, because it's like some of the shit the other night, my daughter, you know, paid her the next day. She's like, the refrigerator's full. It's like all this fruit and stuff. It's like, and I tell her, honey, you know, I can buy you whatever you want to eat. It's not a big deal. Well, now also order me some pants and stuff. Honey, I can dress you. You know, you're like 13 years old. It's like, but it's crazy, because they take the initiative and think, you know what, this is what I want. I'm not going to ask. I'm just going to get it because I can, because I'm able, you know, to empower a woman, you know, a young woman to know that, you know, by doing this, she can do this and have whatever she wants, and, you know, well, whatever she can afford. It's like, dude, it's cool, you know, it's cool. I mean, I was a little shit growing up, man. I would work. Me and my cousin would go sell peaches. We'd make, you know, $500 a day, you know, $1,000 a day. And then I'll turn around and I'll hit up my dad for some new Jordans. He would go buy them for me, and I'd still have that money in my pocket. I had that money to go buy my own shit, but it was like, dude, I was a total dick to my father. But my father never said no. It was like one of those things. And
That's cool.
And I learned that. So then, when we had son Carlos, it was like Carlos never asked for anything. We just got him everything, and so it was like it was really cool growing up because I wanted to be able to do like what my dad did, for him. So, but these little girls, man, oh man, they're totally different.
Well, Carlos is really coming into his own, man.
Dude, Carlos is a badass.
He really is.
I love that. I always say I love that boy, but I mean, he's an adult, man. That guy is 30, 30 years old, man. And it's like, it just, everything I want to say it surprises me, but it really doesn't surprise me, everything he touches and everything he does, he's
just good at.
He does it. Yeah. He does it good. And he does an amazing job,
He's a total savant, man. And I know that this cocktail thing is really, doing a lot for him.
Yeah.
And it's fun to see it for him, because he's a really good, genuine, good-hearted dude. So
yeah, he is, bro. I mean, I can't say anything negative about it, man. He was just my perfect boy.
Yeah. So speaking of prices, like you said, I don't think the inflation is going to go down. It's predicted to go up by 2.3%, with an interval of 2.1 to 2.6%, and this is going to be in the next couple years. So, I mean, it's going to keep going up,
Definitely, man.
There's nothing that I think when COVID happened and, they had all these relief programs and there's all this money poured into the system. Well, anytime you have a value of something and then you flood the market with a thing that has value, eventually the thing loses value, so what goes up must come down. But, and I think that's why you can kind of circle back and say that there is legitimate statistics that are showing, that private chefing is going up, and I don't want to say that restaurants are going down, but I think it's going to be a much tougher business, especially in the next couple of years,
Yeah, and especially if they can't handle like larger groups the way they were doing that in the past. I don't know if it's too much work for them to handle, 8+ groups, but that's probably been the biggest negative feedback that I've had from the people visiting Fredericksburg that I've cooked for is that, they couldn't handle our party, or they didn't want to handle our, this group. And I don't know because if it's an issue with gratuity or not, the kitchen is not being able to keep up.
Yeah.
I don't know, but I mean that's been a thing. And then also, talking still about the inflation thing, I really love like what people like Rome Ranch, Peeler Farms and stuff are doing with meat and stuff. Now, I don't know how much of the overhead that they have that has to be carried over to inflate the meat price, because man, I love the meat. I've bought it from both companies. Great product. I support them in any way I can whenever I can. But I mean, it's like real estate. If you come in with a concept of something is worth more than what it actually is, and put a price tag, then everybody has to drive their prices up to, compete and actually, try to make a little bit of that money as well. I mean, do you feel like maybe that's the same thing that's happening to, just regular products coming out of like grocery where, they're buying Texas local meats as well. They have your natural, your Wagyu, your, just your choice select, whatever at HEB. But I've noticed, dude, that price, even the chicken, going up, so does somebody see some, pricing over here for this high-end boutique style beef and say, okay, well, if they're getting that, why not just drive it up another 10 cents or whatever, and then ultimately, everything's going up.
For sure.
So, I mean, do you feel like maybe they have an impact on,
I do, man. And there used to be this company back in the day called Omaha Steaks. I don't know if you remember them.
I totally remember them.
They were kind of like the first, you could send them a check or, your debit card or whatever, and they would send you like a box of curated steaks every month or whatever. Well, that model is on the rise, so now these boutique guys like Rome Ranch and Peeler Farms, they can send you a box of their, and you can get it, all over the country, and another one is like Snake River Farms, you can go on there and you can buy a $300 steak and have it shipped to your door.
Yeah.
Now I'm not saying that everybody can do that, but if you look at it, like if you break down like, maybe the 5% of the people in America that can afford that and do it, it's a huge number, And I do think that it drives up the price, especially when you put it right next to, HEB has to compete. If they're going to have another brand in there, that's a boutique brand, or, a lot of times, like I've seen Snake River Farms, like I've seen their packaging, and then they'll pull it out of a Snake River Farms package, and then all of a sudden it's HEB Wagyu.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? So, and then, you're paying that premium price for, their product. But I do think it's on the rise, especially with beef, for sure.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how many people are really reaching for like the air chilled, $15.99 a pound chicken breast.
Yeah.
Maybe there's a group of people that are, because it's in the grocery store, but it definitely drives the price of the rest of the product up. Yeah. It has to.
Yeah, and I've also noticed it with with our produce section too. This country, I think, is lacking just better health when it comes to what we're able to offer at an affordable price, and we drive more people to buy things that are not necessarily good, healthy for you. So I just wish that our produce and section would be a little bit more affordable to make it a little easier to eat, healthier.
I know,
but sometimes you walk out of there and just that's mostly veggies and produce, which is great, but you can't afford a lot of for your proteins because it's so damn expensive. But it's just, man, I mean, I don't know what it's going to take, to kind of better or that the industry when it comes to purchasing, without having to sacrifice, where you're getting it from. So, but I'm hoping that something changes in a way that it makes it a little bit more, affordable,
economical.
Yeah.
I know Produce Day used to be like, so whenever I would do an event, salad and like fresh produce was like always kind of berries or whatever would be the last thing I would buy. So I would always do that kind of like the day of to get the kind of freshest stuff that I could. And before I used to be like, oh yeah, if I'm doing an event for, X amount of people, I need like X amount for Produce Day. You know what I mean? But now it's like that tab, went, that tab went from like $100 in produce to now it's like, $225, for the same product, a couple years later.
Yeah.
But no, Americans, I mean, we deal with obesity. I mean, it's a real issue, diabetes, obesity, all these food related health issues, really affect a lot of people. And you're right. I mean, I don't know how they're going to fix that. I know there's some theories out there about how they could, but man, I don't know. That's a tough one.
Yeah, no, I know. I'm just hoping something changes.
Yeah.
I don't know what or who's going to do it, but yeah, we need to fix that. Somebody needs to fix it.
So back to gratuity, man. I was hearing this other thing the other day about gratuity.
Yeah.
And I pulled up some statistics real quick on the percent of people who don't tip.
Yeah.
And nearly 6 in 10 say this, including 2% who say they wouldn't leave any tip.
Yeah. I feel like I've had some customers that haven't tipped, and I normally see this with my larger group.
Yeah.
When I'm doing, like, let's say 18 to 50 or 60, and people are like, they don't even think about it because they're there for an event that was paid by the person, right? So like, these are people that are just guests. They don't need to tip, right? So it's always the people that book. So if you don't, I had never added to just this past week. I added it for a non-profit organization that I'm cooking for next month because they asked if I could do it. If not, I wouldn't have done it. And I'm cooking for a large group of people, but I thought, people will still, if I don't ask them, it's on the website, I don't do it, but I would love to get tip, because it's not only me, it's my kids, or whoever that helps out. But it's weird, man. It started, I remember the beginning of it, everything was like, where people would normally tip, but I'm going to say this, and I think it's mostly like with the high cost, my cost has not changed in 5 years. I haven't changed it, even though I know the cost of food has gone up. I haven't changed it, and maybe I should, but I just don't feel like I need to at the moment. But I've noticed that people have stopped doing it as much.
Yeah, man.
Except for,
There's also like tip fatigue. It's like I was somewhere a couple weeks back and there was like this kiosk where you could like basically fill your own beer. Like they have all these taps and, you get the cup from the girl at the stand and, you go kind of do everything yourself. And, there's a tip line, and I'm like, I'm torn because I'm like, okay, like.
What'd they do? Yeah, I know. I mean, it's like that every time I get coffee, bro. I mean.
I know, dude. I feel so bad.
Yeah, but I still do it when I get coffee because I know that, employees make X amount, right?
Yeah.
They're still, prepping and shit to be done. They gotta, there's all this behind the scenes shit that we probably don't know about. I'm not saying they're roasting their shit and stuff, but they're like, it's just the sanitizing, the cleaning up. It's like there's a lot of little things that we're in and out like in a few minutes, but I still leave it.
Well, is there a difference between like, okay, if like you order like a high end, like latte or something, or if you just get like a cup of drip? Do you gauge it?
I mean, I still do it. I still tip because, somebody still has to clean that bitch out. Somebody still has to make it, Yeah, they still have to sit the stuff out there for you to get. There was a new coffee place, and I'm not gonna say what it is, but it's it was on Main Street, and they opened a while back. I've been there twice. First time it was like ordered a coffee, but I had to go get my own sweetener, my own stir, my own creamer or whatever that was off to the side.
I think I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, and I mean it was okay. I still tipped, but it was like, when you give somebody a cup and you got to do it all.
Yeah,
it makes you feel, but still, I mean, it's a service that you're providing, and if it's not like Europe where everything's included, then I wouldn't do it, but since it's not included and the option is there. Now, the only thing I don't do, and hopefully I don't sound like a dick when I say this, but when I go to the grocery store in Walmart, really Walmart, like you say, do you want to give to this or do you want to do this? And it's like screen after screen, and it's like, dude, I mean, what I'm doing is I'm purchasing, a few $100 worth of stuff. If Walmart's going to have the balls to ask me to give to somebody else, why don't you just do it out of their own pocket?
I know.
And take a percentage, add a certain percentage to whatever the total of their product is so they don't have to be asking. I don't know, man. I just feel that's
I know. I noticed that they're always asking for some sort of donation now when you check out, and I'm like, it pulls on my heartstrings a little bit, and I'm like, do I do it? It's $1, $2, but that compounds, dude. If everybody,
oh yeah,
it's a percentage.
Yeah. What if you collect? Let's say, what if you collect from everyone walking in, they're giving, and they're only giving a percentage of that money away?
Yeah.
It's
you
like,
don't know.
I don't know. It's like you don't know. Nothing's translucent when it comes to that shit.
Ultimately, end of the day, they have to pay to process that.
Totally.
So like how much are you really? Here's an interesting statistic about Gen Z. 16% of Gen Z said they always feel pressure to tip than the older generations. Americans spend nearly $500 a year in tipping more than they like to, according to the new research. A survey of 2,000 Americans estimated just how much tipification may impact their wallets. So Gen Z...
Tipflation.
That's a new one. I know. I was having a hard time with that one.
Yeah, it's kind of hard to read. You get the computer far away, yeah.
But...
Pack our wallets a lot. I mean, a lot. Especially if you tip well,
So there's hope in the next generation. Basically, this is saying that Gen Z feels more pressure to tip than the older generation.
Oh, shit. I haven't seen my girls tip. I'm always the one tipping. I've gotten after them for not tipping, man. And,
so let me ask you this. Let's kind of change a little bit here. Who's been your favorite guest so far on the pod?
Man,
it's hard to pick one, man.
Dude, I know. Like I said, someone's brought something different to the table. Everyone's brought something different to the table, and I've been able to learn from them. But if I had to say, just like the chemistry to have, I mean, Brandon, not because he's like one of my best friends, man, but because everything just flows, in a way like it does with you and I.
For sure.
I mean, hell, if we wanted to, we can just sit back and let Brandon take the mic for the entire hour, and I'd be fine with it, But, and he's very opinionated. He doesn't give a fuck about what anybody thinks of him. So, that with just coming in with that attitude for me, it's like it makes it fun, you know. It makes
that was
it
a fun day too.
It was, bro. I mean, because everyone's like, yeah, they're super cool, man. Like going back to Tim, just the history, knowing him, the kind of guy he is, amazing. You know, JC, meeting him here for the first. I met him one time whenever the Lavender Festival. I stopped by just to say hi, and I didn't expect to see what I saw. You know, when I met him, because you know people can see pictures and see something, but when the guy opens up his mouth, it's like, what'd you say? You know, he's got a little accent, but it's not your French accent; it's his Cholo accent. You know, coming in with a little country, and then
he's a French Cholo country cowboy,
cowboy man, in his little lowrider or big lowrider truck, and, which I think he wants to get lifted up now.
He was even a bull rider.
Dude, a bull rider, soccer player. I mean, the guy is funny. And then, you know, built custom, lowrider bikes. And you know, he had a 964 Super Sport. It was, you know, his flaked out and, you know, McLean's on there. It's funny. But anyway, so everyone, you know, and then, of course, little Christina, man, that little, she's a little package, man, but with a lot, you know, a lot of energy, a lot of passion, a lot of, you know, talent. Ashley, such a badass chef, man. I mean, just innovator. She's an innovator, man. Chef Lacey, man. You know, that flavor chaser. I mean,
he's doing some big things, dude, man.
He's blowing up fast, man. I mean, just after our interview, you know, I saw him doing, you know, his classes and stuff. So he's gotten a lot of attention out there in LA.
Dude, that dude will send me random words of encouragement on Instagram.
I know. And I'm
like, oh my God,
that's cool.
I know. I'm like, dude, this is so cool. It's like, you know, he's genuine, and that goes back to the idea of, you know, kind of why we started this too, is like we really wanted to build a community of people, you know, that are interested in the things that we're interested in.
Yeah.
You know, and I think it's just cool to kind of see it. And you know, it's a little thing, you know, you just send somebody a word of encouragement as a reel or something on Instagram, but dude, it made my day when he did that. Like, I'm not gonna lie, you know. And even the Hill Country Bon Vivant, you know, I mean, dude, she had such a great story.
Totally, man.
And then we got reshared on something she was doing about the podcast, some other publication or something like that.
Yeah, but she just, I mean, just the way she, her presence brings joy to a space, man. It's crazy.
For sure.
You know, she's just like, I don't know, like a little, you know, she's just energy,
good energy, man.
She's just good energy, man.
She loves her life, and she loves what she does.
She's grateful, definitely grateful, man, for everything. So you can see that in everything she says and does. Who else,
dude?
Man?
Ricky was a trip.
Oh my God, bro! I think we got a good amount of likes on social media because people weren't sure what kind of mushrooms we were talking about, man. But the guy. But dude, yeah, the
guy has passion,
totally, man.
And he looks like he looks like a 1990s like race car driver.
And I found out we're kind of related, like distant cousins.
Yeah, that was cool.
Which is crazy, man. So I mean, Ricky's a badass. Yeah, he reminds me of someone that, you know, it's gonna pull off a race car helmet, just in a fire suit, right? Get off, crawling through the window. Hell, it could have been one of those or maybe episodes of the Dukes, man.
Yeah, the Dukes, or maybe he also kind of reminds me of like a wrestler from the 90s.
Oh, dude, for sure, Ricky. Yeah, but, I can see him in those little spandex with the.
Yeah, he's just full of passion, you know, and it was cool to see how much of our community like really like loves the work that he does on social media. You know?
So I mean, we already mentioned Jay, man. Jay's like, and it's funny because I mean, I'll call Jay. Hey, man, you want to sit in? Yeah, dude, I'll be there. It's like,
I know.
Anytime, man. He's ready to go.
I know, and it was funny. It's like it kind of took a couple times because we had, you know, we were just trying to figure out like the sound techniques and stuff like that in the beginning, and you know, we re-recorded with him and JC, and it was a great conversation, you know, and I'm sure Jay will be back to do some, you know, for sure, conversations with us in the future, and
then we also have Henry, man.
Oh yeah, Henry was
the vision boy, man. The guy who has great vision. He is just a go-getter, man, you know.
Oh, 100%.
You know, he reminds me of just a typical Mexican, man. One of those guys that, hey, there's no work, I'll go make it. You know, I'll create some work. And he, you know, from after he, you know, at Sage, it was like, okay, I'm going to do a consulting thing. Then I'm going to do the private chef stuff. How do I do it? You know, we sat down, we talked for hours. And then it's like, hey, like he created this product line, of these pecans, candied pecans, was like different, rosemary or sage, and just creating some good stuff and turning out some events, man, that, in his style are just phenomenal, and I'm going to have to say this, but bro, it's just, I'm proud. I wish I could taste some of the sweets sometime. I haven't yet.
Yeah.
He didn't. I mean, I've cooked out here. He's brought some stuff, and it's like, but I haven't had, the pleasure of him just cooking and me eating everything he's cooked.
Yeah, for sure. I ate some of his food when I first moved here. He was the exec at Otto's, and we had a culinary manager meeting at, it was like a random Friday afternoon, and he put together this beautiful spread of pickles that he had made, and some of the candied stuff that he had done with the pecans and sausages that they made there in Otto's. And I was like, dude, this guy's legit, man. But that's my only experience. But and he did a great job there.
Yeah,
during his stint, I think he really elevated the Otto's.
Yeah, for sure. Man. Yeah, no. So I love the guy, man. I know he's gonna keep knocking it out of the park. And I'm so proud of him, man. He is one best chef from the Reader's Choice Award. We're
neck and neck, you and him.
Dude, it was great. I found. I mean, I'm so grateful, man, to have come in second place too, because it was like 90. I want to say 98% of the community has not eaten my food. So it's kind of like, how do you know?
But
they still, I know that everybody voting were locals, so they supported their local people. And Bean Henry, even though he hails from Germany, I mean, Germany.
Yeah,
he's he fits right in here with us locals, man. So I was super proud of him, and so it was like, man, that's something else that people recognize what he's doing, and I think that's a great thing, because we need more people like that here to kind of help us grow in a better positive way.
For sure.
So, how about you, man? Who's been the best for you, dude?
You know what's funny? That day that we interviewed Brandon, and I every single one of them that we've done has had a special, kind of tone, and I've taken away like so much from every guest we've interviewed. But dude, Jeff Mazurek is the total entertainer, man. I mean, that guy's got stories. Like when we talk about the power of storytelling.
Yeah.
I mean, that guy is like he's a walking example of that.
Yeah.
And just the fact that he pulled up in that Cybertruck, and we're out here eating tomahawks.
Oh man, that guy's a character, man. Just growing up with him and seeing him grow, as it's inspiring for me, and I'm sure for a lot of people out there, you can be easily inspired by Jeff, not because of what he's made, but how he's made it, because he just gets up, puts on his boots, and goes, man.
Yeah.
I don't think he wears fucking boots, but it's like he's a workaholic.
He's a plumber, he's an electrician, he's a businessman, he's a entrepreneur, so yeah, no, I thought that his interview was it was just fun,
dude. I know. So he's gonna be your number one.
Man, it's hard, dude. It's so hard to pick just one.
I know, man. No, it was easy for me, man, but I mean, I love everyone that we've done. I really do, because I seriously, like I was telling you about Kaylee earlier. I mean, Kendall, my God, dude. I mean, also to see her grow, to hear how the process that she does, and just, she's also super hardcore, working girl.
Yeah, she's done very well for herself.
Now, and then, she's got those kids, man. She's got to
maintain the household,
maintain the house to the kids, and still do everything she does. And she's slammed like 24/7.
Yeah.
She literally has to say no more, and stop for a minute.
No more.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
I know, to be able to do that, it's nice, but at the same time, I know then she'll get bored and she keeps on going.
Yeah.
So Kendall is also another total badass.
Yeah, and Kaylee was a great interview. She gave me, I feel like I learned a lot. And I had known her from an event that we did here in Fredericksburg, and just to see kind of how she's global, and how she's been able to kind of, as a homeschool girl who kind of made her way, and so yeah, I thought she was interesting. And honestly, Buddy was a great interview too.
Yeah, which no one's heard yet. I mean,
by the time they hear this one,
well, no, they'll hear this. They've already heard Buddy.
Oh,
right.
Gotcha.
So Buddy, I'll release it, which like today or tomorrow.
But he's dude, talk about insightful. I think just that interview for me, it was like,
yeah,
I'm gonna go back and probably re-listen to it, once it's out, because I kind of want to distill out all the information that he kind of let.
Dude, I love the guy, man. Just he is a character. If you see him, I mean,
he's hard to miss.
He's hard to miss, man. The guy just looks like a pimp, like a Willie, on just a sober Willie, I guess.
Yeah.
a super young, hip Willie. Not that Willie. No, Willie's fucking hip no matter what, bro. But yeah, dude, I love him. I love Buddy. Who else? Let's say that I super get excited about when they were here, man.
The Rum Ranch one was cool. We got a lot of information about bison and soil and regenerative farming. I can still have a hard time saying that one.
Then that's Michael, man. Michael Crew, man, from his the Outpost, dude. I've cooked for him, a handful of times, and then you went with me, and that was a blast because the guy he's like a brother, man. He's like family. You cook with him, and just the stories he has to say, and the building and the reason behind everything. He's just doing everything. With a purpose and a passion. Yes. He has, and he 100% believes in that, and why he's doing it, and he's helping people, throughout, a lot of PTSD and stuff.
The vets, recovery, the veterans. Yeah, he's doing a lot for vets.
So that to me is like that really captured my heart, and I appreciate everything that guy does.
Oh, 100%, man, 100%. So let's touch on the future a little bit, dude. I'm really looking forward to the next, I don't want to call it season, but where the podcast is going. And like I told you before, if I had the money, dude, this would be this would be both of our full-time jobs, and
not have to cook anymore. No, we'd miss it. We'd be cooking. People would come over here.
Of course.
We'd do it like a podcast, didn't cook for everyone.
That would be fucking cool, dude. Yeah. That would be rad.
I'd do it while we do the podcast and cook at the same time. So.
Yeah. I think there's power when you share a meal with people, man. It's like the ultimate, like Bourdain, that was like his big thing, it's like it's the ultimate equalizer. You can sit across from people in a foreign country and share a meal with them, and then you walk away from that and you feel like family, and that's part of kind of why we do what we do. There's there's an element of that, but I just look forward to continued great guests and just learning.
I agree, man. I think that things are going to get better, especially now that we somewhat know what we're doing when it comes to the technical aspect and the direction we want to go with. I think that we'll keep on creating new experiences as we go. I think that we'll evolve from not just a private dinner thing, but I was saying it jokingly, but I feel like there's something to be done with the whole entertaining, capturing, live streaming, doing something in that realm, so that people can be more involved, even within a podcast. That would be really cool. Like, dude, sitting down and getting a story from a table.
Yeah,
I guess.
Hell yeah.
So that, I'm gonna say this, and then we'll see who the fuck steals my idea. But can you imagine having like a little, dinner outside with overhead condenser mics capturing everyone's conversation?
Oh my God.
And just directing, hey, what do you think? And just hearing everybody something that it could be something funny, it can be something sad, whatever, or, about their work or their day, and just compiling that and calling it something based around, around a dinner table,
stories around the table.
So that would be really cool. How many shows are out there like that?
None.
I shouldn't. So if you fucking copy me, man, I'm coming. I'm gonna find you. I'm gonna call my Theo, and I'll have you taken care of in a nice way. No harm will come to you.
No harm will come.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think, and you and I have kicked around the idea of putting something like that together. I don't know, who knows when that will be, but it's ultimately something kind of cool, maybe to think about and dream about, and maybe work towards. and if you're listening to this and you feel like it's a good idea and you want to sponsor it, that'd be great too.
Yeah. And if you don't want to give your money, man, just give us your time. We can put you to work doing something here.
If you raise or you make a great product, if you're in the in the ranching world, or if you're an independent farmer, a local grower, just
hit us up.
We will cook it. You will come,
Or if you know anything about audio, video, lighting as well, and if you want to learn, and if you want an internship with us, we'd love to have you come in.
Oh yeah, man!
Talk to us. We'd expose you to all those tools and techniques that you would need to, maybe go do your own thing, in the future. So
it's all about empowerment, man.
Exactly,
and that really is at the core of kind of why we're doing this. It's just empowering people that are in our tribe, and letting them know that there's others like us.
Yeah, totally, man. And so you need to have the desire and will and the energy to get up and do it.
Yeah, but you know what? That's funny because that's a great idea. You never know who might end up reaching out after this to look for an internship.
We will take you as long as you're not lazy, alcoholic, druggy. Yeah. What else? Homeless. I mean, we can help you, point you to the right direction, man, for all those needs if you have a need. But we will need to hire somebody competent.
Yeah, for sure. And I mean, there could be some great things on the back end, once as we grow, and as this show reaches more people, and it's funny. Maybe we'll look back on this conversation in a year from now, Chef, and we'll be like, "Wow, remember when we did that recap?" And look how much things are different now than they were then, and some of the stuff that we were talking about came to fruition.
Yeah.
And the power of the spoken word. I believe that we will reach a huge demographic eventually, and I look forward to that. And we've even talked about doing some field trips and stuff like that.
Yeah,
and
do some remote stuff.
Yeah.
So, if you're listening, if you want us to come out to you, we'd be happy to plan something. Just hit us up on social media or website, or email or text us. Our phone number is always available through any of those outlets. So we'd love to visit with y'all and get your story and know about you and your product, or just what you do in general.
Hell yeah!
Help you out in any possible way we can.
Well, we touched on about all the stuff here, Chef.
For sure, man. And we have to hit up one more time our boy Jay at Perks per Cast Iron, man. They provide, to sponsor this show. So this moment right now is gonna be brought to you by Perks per Cast Iron.
Yeah, man.
They're our sponsor, man. So instead of me having to plug in post production the commercial, man, here we go, man.
Here we go. And that is one thing that Chef Leo and I have talked about too, and we want to reach new markets with this podcast as well. And we always keep in mind, like, his product is so great because it can translate to some of these, other markets that we're trying to touch, especially with chefs and, local producers and stuff like that. It's just a great product for our community.
Yeah, totally, man. So, I mean, if you're a butcher out there and you got great knives, right, but you want to pick up something to, elevate what your product looks like, these cast irons, they're great in any kitchen, big or small. You can throw them on top of live fire. I use it on induction tops. I use them on gas or electric ranges. It doesn't matter. Your product will be consistent every time. Yeah. Once you get this thing hot, it stays hot, and just put a nice sear in your steak, let it rest, and there's no magic, man, to it. There's no hard work behind it. It's just simple. And the product, and it's a consistent, product that will, you'll have every time. So if you're the butcher, if you're, a chef, if you're just the marketing guy that just wants to capture an elegant piece without even having to use it, it's like, it could be used in many ways. And, the best part about any of these products, especially, the cast iron that I use every day, is that it brings people together at the end. It's like you're using this product, you're providing something, you're even a conversation piece sometimes, but it's just overall badass tool to have, in your kit of just, cooking utensils and just home, an extension of your home, really.
Yeah, for sure. That's going to last forever, and the holidays are coming up too. So, it's a great, I think I was going to actually hit Jay up because my plan is to give one to my mom, one to my dad. Cause it's like you can give them, what do you give the person who has everything? You know,
totally, man.
This is that niche product.
Oh yeah, man.
That is great for that.
Totally.
You know, because like even though they have everything, they don't have something like this.
Correct.
You know what I mean?
And it's not only the cast iron, like the comals. You know, he's got comal. He's got the ramekins now. He's got these little lids. Now calling him mini Dutch oven. He's got all these hand tools. Utilities that you can use. So like the whisk, a smasher, a tenderizer, a press for your burgers,
smash burger press,
smash burgers.
Meat tenderizer.
Totally, man. I mean, there's some. If you go to their website to fredericksburgcastiron.com, I mean, you can look at the list of the products. Not to mention this badass apron he has that I've been wanting to get, man. But it's like,
dude, even just a hat, even just getting
a
FBG hat.
Just rep it if you're local, man, and you have one. Help spread the word. Wear something that supports him. So
for sure, man.
For sure. What else can we say about this guy that we haven't said anymore, man? I know that you can order, through them. If you order online and you use a promo code, what is it?
COAPC, COPAC.
Yeah.
Confessions of a Private Chef is the acronym.
Yeah, Confessions of a Private Chef. So if you use that, you get free shipping. So that's a big savings.
Huge savings. Shipping is because they're heavy.
They're heavy, man. They're heavy. Like I told you, I've shipped before and it was like $40 to ship the 18-inch, I think. So it's like, take advantage of that if you can, especially now that the holidays are coming up.
Oh yeah, man,
for sure.
It's a great holiday gift. Anything from there.
Yeah. So guys, thanks for sponsoring and supporting us in everything we do, and hopefully, we're making y'all proud.
Yeah, well, I hope so. But I know Jay, and I know that he's I think that he sees a lot of value in what we're doing. So
I think so too. I hope so.
Yeah.
But anyways, so how do they get a hold of you, brother, if they want to, book you for anything?
www.thediningdude.com. And on social media, we are The Dine Dude. I haven't been very active lately on social media.
No, you have not. You still haven't answered my messages on.
Dude, I have been I go into these weird kind of like just holes where I'm like, sometimes I get on Instagram and I find myself leaving it kind of mixed feelings. Like, I'm one of those people. It's hard for me to it's a highlight reel for a lot of people, and for me, it's like, sometimes it's just very, I don't know how to put it, but it just makes me feel depressed in a way, so sometimes I take breaks.
I get you,
know what I mean?
No, I totally get you. I don't have the luxury of being able to take breaks like that. For me, social media is like the biggest, especially Instagram. It's my biggest marketing tool that I have. And so that is how the majority of my bookings are seen, or customers see me through social media, and then I end up with bookings that way through my stories, my reels, and then so it's something that my phone broke last week. Didn't have it for 3 days. I couldn't post shit. I couldn't do anything or engage with anyone that I needed to for work. So it was difficult, man. I was like having like a hard time trying to figure out, oh man. Then I realized, I got a tablet, but then it was like my phone's coming in that day, but it was not charged.
Oh no.
So anyways, that's work for me. So
I guess I'm lucky in a way where the vast majority of my clientele is in College Station, and a lot of that clientele is kind of old school, where
pick up the phone. It's
just literally we just make emails and phone calls, and texts.
Yeah.
So that's kind of how we go on that.
Whatever works, man. Whatever works. But I mean, so now people know how to get a hold of you. If they want to get a hold of me, they can reach me on my cell phone, which is on my website or Instagram. Instagram, Chef Leo Aguirre, or EatFBGTX, Eat Fredericksburg, Texas. Website, eatfbgtx.com, or again, Eat Fredericksburg, Texas, or chefleoaguirre.com. What other way can they get us? They can get us on any of the platforms that we use to broadcast this. All the information is on there: Spotify, YouTube.
Yeah, Spotify and Apple are our biggest kind of consumers of the media. So, just type in Confessions of a Private Chef, or like and subscribe the page. That would really help. Kind of boost us.
Comments.
Comments, and then. When you like and subscribe, every time we drop a new episode, it will show up in your feed.
For sure, yeah. And also, follow us on on Instagram, man, for sure. Confessions of a Private Chef. We look forward to hearing from y'all. And the good or the bad,
Yeah.
we'll take whatever you got.
Whatever you got, bring it.
Whatever you got, man. I just like engaging with people. It doesn't matter.
Yeah. Engagement is everything, man.
For sure. But brother, it's always a pleasure, having you in my studio, and feel like it's yours too, man. It's your studio. And so, dude, I can't wait for the next episode to come out. We have to figure it out. So if you're out there and you want to be on, just, hit us up. We'd love to hear from you.
Yeah. We'd love to hear from you if you're into marketing and if you're into chefing, if you're into food, if you're, a farmer, or you're a rancher, or, you own, Airbnb properties or anything like that, that has to do with tourism and building a marketing strategy, or, just offering hospitality to people.
Yeah, man. I mean, even if you're just house dad or house mom, you got a way to cook things, man. Hit us up.
Hit us up.
Yeah, if you're a race car driver and you like to eat somewhere, if you're a musician and there's how do you stay healthy? It's like, let's talk about just what you have to do in your life, to get through, with just any meal. Do you go from gas station to gas station? Just things. I'm kind of intrigued by some of these people that have certain professions like that. It's
For
like,
sure.
well, do they have their private chef? Do they travel with them? Do they what? It'd be nice to know.
Yeah, it'd be nice to know.
So anyone, hit us up. I'm curious to know.
100%.
So, all right, brother. Well, until next time.
Yeah, man. Thanks for having me today, and I look forward to it.
For sure, brother. All right, guys. Ciao.
Ciao. Bye.